So, in case it hasn't become apparent on my channel already, I have a teeny tiny obsession with the lore of TDX at the moment. I don't know, it's just something about it that's extremely captivating to me. And even with my coverage of the winter event lore being long over, there are still 3 more things that I'd like to talk about in a video. While not video worthy on their own, I think that together all 3 things I want to talk about today help flesh out the lore in completely different ways. That's right, folks. Today, I've got 3 mini-theories for you all to chew on. The first theory involves a secret organization that I think we've all been overlooking in the lore. The second theory is a look back to the Tower Battles era once again, to discuss a foe that I believe could return to haunt the GDA. And the third is just a really funny idea that I've had that actually makes more narrative sense the longer I think about it. Anyways, I'm a little sick, so without further ado, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and without further ado, let's dive into it. Theory number 1. Forge Industries. In the world of TDX, one thing you'll probably notice is that the GDA, the protagonists of the game, use a lot of propaganda to inspire the troops, enlist the masses, and ensure a positive public image. Considering the GDA is a paramilitary organization rather than a legitimate government body, this is likely seen as a necessary evil. However, today, I am not concerned with the propaganda itself, but rather who makes it. Obviously, in real life, the renders are created by the developer Rika Forge, but in the lore, these posters are branded with a secondary signature, Forge IND. But what is this Forge IND? What does it do? Well, sit tight, because they might actually be a lot more important than you think. We know Forge IND, short for Forge Industries, is a company that exists in universe, considering that there is a map named after them, Outpost Forge. This map is covered in propaganda posters which show us a closer connection between the GDA and Forge Industries. But I believe that we've seen Forge Industries in other places as well.
Oh my God!
Every faction in TDX has an insignia. The GDA have the bird inside the square. Dr. Xenon has the red X, the Calamity, the Awakened, and the Relic have their own little markings, the Void has his crystal, and Frosty's army has his crystals. It would stand to reason that Forge IND would have their own symbol as well, right? Well, as luck would have it, there has been an all-white symbol that's been present on many maps in TDX, usually on stuff relating to manufacturing, construction, and science. That's right, I'm talking about the triangle symbol that's literally everywhere. It's all over the assembly line, like I said, it's on the boats in the fort in Vinland, it's on the GDI Port City map. Its markings can also be found on lots of futuristic towers in TDX, such as XWM, GDA-Z, and the Golden Towers. More interestingly, these triangle markings can also be found on Eradicator, Eradicator Mark II, Eradidog, and Eradicator Mark IV. It is my theory that Forge IND is the name of the manufacturing company behind much of the GDA's futuristic technology. Things like the Armored Factory and Attack Heli are vehicles that exist in the real world and can be easily borrowed from other militaries. But Zeds, XWMs, Golden Towers with big lasers, that technology is far beyond the scope of the real world, so they probably needed an outside company to help them manufacture that stuff. It is through this we can also see that Forge Industries must have existed for a very, very long time, as it seems Dr. Xenon must have been around during its time as well. Remember, in the past, Dr. Xenon was on the side of the GDA and created the Golden Towers as well as the Eradicators for the GDA. This is why there are a limited amount of Eradicators, as well as why the Golden Towers have a lot of stuff that pertain to Xenon on them, like her helmet and her X symbol and all that stuff. The Eradicators are older, created at the same time as the Golden Towers. In the end, when the GDA and Xenon split ways, the Forge must have stayed under the GDA's control, considering that they keep making GDA propaganda. There's not really much else to them now, but I'm glad I was finally able to connect the dots here. Theory number 2, Grim, the Calamity's Angel of Death. Of all the event bosses in Tower Battles, I think the 2 most memorable have to be Frosty/Revenant and Grim. The Jacks don't really fit TDX at all, and Santabot can easily be written off as a very old prototype for Exo Santa that Dr. Xenon made long ago. But now, With confirmation that Frosty is dead, and with General Selgar's invasion completely thwarted, I feel like the next seasonal TV baddie we face will be Grimm himself. This isn't just a wish list either. Grimm just has the most going for him and just makes the most logical sense. Let me explain. First off, his skin is completely pitch black, which lines up and matches well with many of the other entities shown to be in the Calamity faction. Secondly, he has the ability to summon actual demon skeletons, can actually kill towers, and when he's defeated, he doesn't actually die. He escapes in a portal back to Hell, in a manner very similar to the Calamity Scout from Endless. There is also the fact that he's not your ordinary Grim Reaper. He has wings, making him more akin to an Angel of Death than a simple Grim Reaper Halloween thing. Given the Calamity's depiction as a twisted religious cult, and other showings of Dr. Mallory undergoing a similar transformation as we speak, I think that having Grimm appear alongside an evolved demon goddess Mallory is a definite possibility. Grimm could also just be explained to have been a scout, similar to how the Calamity in Endless was a scout. I definitely think this is possible. Theory number 3. The Wretched is a fraud. Now, I know what you're thinking, and no, I'm not referring to the fact that the Wretch was an easy, unfinished, disappointing boss. I'm talking about him in the lore as a fraud. But what do I mean by this? Well, let's actually look at the guy, as well as what he says and what he does in the lore. The Wretch is an injured, half-dead, humanoid man whose midsection has been completely destroyed. He walks around with a robotic prosthetics and has a few weapons on the platform, but otherwise he's essentially a really scary robot wheelchair. He definitely wasn't human, but I imagine he was like a normal demon worshipping the Calamity before he had to be put in this contraption. He has no corruption powers, no crazy cult magic, nothing. In the trailer, all we see him do is give a speech. And that's when it hit me. Perhaps that is his only purpose, to be a mouthpiece for the cult. He's a figurehead, someone there to rally the troops and give them big speeches to motivate them. We see that aside from speaking and trying to convince us that the GDA is wrong, he has very little knowledge of stuff outside that. He mocks Dr. Xenon's creations and doesn't see their full potential. He's closed-minded and doesn't appreciate the true value of what they have. This is why I believe the Vile Engineer is the true and actual leader of the Awakened cult. Think about it. He created the nail golems, tanks, dreadnoughts, corrupted predators, and other automatons that they use. He bred and grew the twitching vials to become maze guardians and wendigos. He reprogrammed Xenon's predators, Apex Predator, and Mark II. He possesses actual magic mixed together with machinery, as seen with his cybernetic pulse, EMP, and his interplay with the Heretic. Where the Wretch also is just completely alone in this boss fight, we can see that the Vile Engineer is an actual team player who works with everyone on his side, as we see him working alongside his nail golems, corrupted avatars, necromancer bosses from tower battles, and the Heretic himself. He is also the one who took Xenon's factory and who used the Void Hearts and connected them to the modern portal frames in order to link his dimension to ours. That's some insane smarts right there, meaning that he's probably the one who orchestrated the actual invasion in the first place. He probably also created the Spires, and if he's behind the other robotic and mechanical creations of the Awakened, then it would stand to reason that he's the one who created the robotic prosthetics that the Wretched uses. The Wretched's only purpose is to talk. The Vile Engineer built most of his army's forces, created the technology that they used to begin the invasion, seized control of most of the technology, and possessed far more magic power than the Wretch ever did. The Wretch is a complete fraud. He's only a leader by name. The Engineer is the true mastermind. And there you have it, friends, my 3 little mini theories on TDX lore. I hope you enjoyed this little video, because I had a lot of fun really making it. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe like I said, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.
However, with your army drained, I think it's my turn to intervene again, don't you think? I'm sending out a speed force, some of them will not remember.